Okay, guys. As I can see that there are very less joiners today, and probably that is because of holiday. Today's chart as well as it's Diwali holiday.
Yeah, right.
So what I do is, rather than going into much detail today, I'll be taking a short session, and I'll tell you the coding standards, like coding, how you can start coding in Java, and the fundamentals of coding with a very basic program, so that you will be in a situation that whenever I'll start proper coding, you will be quite comfortable at what these keywords are, what the standard, what the design is actually. Okay. So mm, I'm skipping this JV market share specification for today, and because this is an important topic, and I just want to discuss with the group of members so that they will be having a clear understanding on it. Otherwise, if it will be just theory, they might not be able to get it properly, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let me start my development environment. I'm using Spring Tool Suite. There are different other environments. You can use Eclipse, and you can use IntelliJ IDEA. But I do prefer, actually, I have all my experience on Eclipse as well as in Spring Tool Suite. So that is why I prefer only this IDE, right? Let it start, and then I'll tell you how.
So any license required? Uh,
No, no, no licenses, sir. This
okay.
is free to use. For IntelliJ IDEA, definitely you need to have license required after um, a month, I believe. What you have to do is you have to get the latest version of Eclipse from environment, and you need to verify, check what Java version it is supporting, because sometimes it happens that we download the Eclipse version, but the relevant Java version is not available on which Eclipse can run. So it fails, it doesn't start. So you have to cross check that which version of Eclipse you are downloading and what Java version it supports, right? So here I have come up with a Spring Tool Suite. So what I'm going to start here is with simple basic program of Java. So for creating a simple basic Java program, either in Eclipse or Spring Tool Suite, you can simply click on the left panel Package Explorer, and right click here and say Java project. Plain simple Java project. No, nothing you have to specify. Say simple Java project. It asks you for a project name. You specify the project name here. Let's say this is our first demo project. Okay. So whenever you start Eclipse, it asks you for a workspace, that where should I store your all projects which are being developed on Eclipse, to maintain it, to maintain its state, so that it can be accessed from the same state later on if you close the environment. So you can see use default location. Default location is the location which which is the workspace of your Eclipse environment. Fine. So my default location is C users Rajesh workspace Java 8 and first Java 8. This is my default workspace location. So what you can do is you can choose any of yours. You can specify, okay, I do not want to store this into my workspace. I want it to be stored somewhere else. So what Workspace will do, Workspace will maintain the metadata file about your project, and it doesn't contain all of your project information there. The project information will be somewhere else, some other directory outside your workspace, but the meta information, that is data about data, data that is your project. So metadata that will be that will be capturing an information where your project is existing. So it can easily associate that with your Eclipse environment, and whenever you open the Eclipse environment, it will be loaded from that environment. And whenever you save, compile, it will be saved or compiled to that particular location. For example, I'll show you here my location. This is my project location, C users. C, I say users, say Rajesh, say Java 8. It must be somewhere here. C users, Rajesh workspace. Sorry. Workspace. Then we have a Java 8 folder. And here we have this workspace. See, whatever the projects which I have chosen, Java 8 functionalities, you can see here. Java EE skills, it is not here because it must be somewhere else in some other default location. JUnit test application is here. Order processing service is here. So these are the different projects. In those, there is Java EE skills, which is existing at some other location. And what is that? This is in C users Raj's Eclipse workspace, Oxygen Java EE skills. So this is at some other workspace, some other location, whereas all other projects are existing into the current workspace. See, C uses Rajesh workspace Java 8, Java 8 functionalities, JUnit test application, you can see properties, and you see C uses Rajesh workspace Java 8 unit test application. So whatever the project you are creating, by default, it goes to the default workspace. Otherwise, you have to manually specify that I want this to be created on a different location. I'll create two different projects, and those two projects will be created on two different locations. One is in default workspace, and the other will be on a new particular location. So here I am saying Java project, and I'll say my first demo project. Okay, so this is into my default location. What IDE environment I am using, that is Java SE. JRE is, but I do not want JRE only. I want default JRE, currently JDK. So the JDK will be completely taken into consideration here. And whenever we will be compiling or executing a program, so the JRE within the JDK will be responsible for that. So this is for the development environment. You can use any of these, it doesn't matter at all. But if you want to compile your code, definitely you need to have JDK associated. JRE alone cannot be able to compile your code as well as execute it. JRE is simply responsible to provide you the runtime environment where your code can execute. And for that, it is having a Java interpreter, java.exe, which is responsible to run your Java code. If
So
there is
when
any,
we,
Mhm.
yeah, so when we saying Java project, so does this mean it's simply a programming where we are storing in this project? I mean,
See, it means a simple folder where you will be putting all your program classes. Okay, that is a structured design where you will be putting all your Java source files, which you will be creating, and all the compiled classes as well, so that it can be executed. I'll show you that. Let's say first demo project I am going to create in the workspace. We will see that we do not have Java first demo project here, right?
Yeah, it's not here.
So whenever I'll create it, I'll say next, and then I specify first demo project where I'll keep source. The source will be kept into first demo projects src folder, and the binary files will be created. That binaries are the class files. So those will be created inside first demo project slash bin. Now I'll say finish. So what will happen? There will be a new project created, first demo project. You can see that, right?
Yes, yes.
So here there are two folders. One is bin and the other is src.
SRC.
SRC is for your source files and bin is for your compiled files. So for bin, you do not need to do anything. It's all Eclipse environment will be doing, because you have specified while creating your project that my class files will be stored into this particular location. So whenever you create your Java source file and you save it, that will automatically be compiled and stored into this bin location. Okay. And this is the class path, which is having a class informations. We can see here. So this is saying that my source will be in the src directory. My class path output files will be stored into bin directory. Output means compiled file, that is binary files. And what the JRE environment we are using, the JRE is, or the Eclipse, that this particular plugin is used to is responsible for doing creating a JRE for us, like associating it with Java runtime environment and executing our Java code. So this is the class path entry. It will be picking all the information from here. Then we have the project location, project file. The project description tells about what is the name of your project, that is first demo project. If there's any comment, any specific information you have specified, it will be stored here. It specifies that how many projects are there in this. Then build spec, Java builder, what the build spec. So this all will be discussed later with more details. Although it doesn't require much, because everything you will be configuring through Eclipse, and this doesn't need to be configured by the developer most of the time. Okay, so we do not have anything in the source folder right now. We do not have anything in the build folder right now. Now, what I am going to do is, first of all, I am closing all the current open projects. So these all projects will be closed. Now there's only one project, that is first demo project, which is open. And you see there are two things which we can see, SRC and
Yeah.
JRE. Where is the bin folder gone? Bin folder does never displays on the environment. Why? Because bin folder never displays on here, because we do not do anything specifically manually on the bin folder, right? Everything is done by Eclipse. So Eclipse at the background knows where it should store the compiled file and where it should pick the compiled files from to run that particular program. So we do not have anything to be worried about. That is why Eclipse doesn't shows you anything out here like bin folder and its classes here, so that you will not be able to manipulate or change any of the class files by mistake. Okay. So now I'm going to create a particular class. Now, my first Java class. So here it asks for package. We will be talking about this package when we will be talking about OOPS concepts and for the Java enhancements. Right now, I'm not going to create any package here. Now, my first Java project, and my first Java project will be created empty. I am not going to put anything inside this. So now what? As soon as you create your first Java project, at the background, you did not do anything. You have simply saved it. Control S. Okay. And now if we can go here and see your source file has been created here. First Java project .java, right? It's a .java extension. And at the same time, when you go into the bin folder, you will see first Java project .class. That means a binary file has already been created at the backend. A bytecode has already been created at the backend, which it will be using for execution further. Or we can simply run it from the command prompt. But will that program do anything? Exactly nothing. This is an empty Java class. Empty Java class can be created and compiled, but it will not be able to perform any operations in Java. So to make it operationable, to make it functional, we have to do something more into that. What we can do is we will be creating a method here, and that method is very standard method, which we will be writing first, and then we'll move further. Public static void main, and we have an argument definition. This is a default function, so we cannot do anything with this structure, but we can do anything within this, within the body of it. So here I am going to write system.out.println, system.out.print, and then we'll say hello and welcome to first Java project. Hello and welcome to first Java project. So now this first Java project is created. Now, what is the time? This is 9:28 here. So we'll go at the back end. We'll see my source file's creation time is 9:28, as well as my bin file creation time is 9:28. That means that .class file is automatically updated, automatically compiled. But if we do a mistake here and we'll save here, so let's complete this and have it like sometime 9:29. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll save here. I have missed a bracket. Now this is showing a compilation error here. What that? That syntax error insert to complete expression. This can be uh, like fixed here by the developer, because Eclipse already helping you out in understanding it. But when you are writing it on Notepad, you won't be able to fix at the same time, because you do not know whether that is a mistake by. So when you try to compile this program using the command line compiler, that compiler will throw you an error that this particular program has a syntax error. Syntax is basically a pattern, a flow, like say grammar basically, that whenever you speak, you should use a specific grammar while speaking or writing at least. If you do not use a proper grammar, then that particular sentence will be having some um, syntactical error, grammatical error, basically, we say. So that is acceptable in our talking. But while writing, if we write something, that will be a punctuation mistake, there will be a grammatical, some other mistake, and that will not be considered as a good uh, writing standard. And in the case of Java programming language, a syntax is a grammar checking basically, which checks how that I am having a certain set of uh, grammar in my vocabulary. So if you do not follow that particular grammar, I will be uh, discarding it. I will not be able to accept it because I would not do not understand it, that what exactly it is. So that is why it shows you an exception here. And also Eclipse suggests you syntax error. Insert a bracket to complete expression, a right bracket to complete an expression. So I'll insert a right bracket here, and it will not give you an error further. So for that, till here, you see a red mark because I have not saved it. Once I'll save it, it will give me a it will remove that red mark from here. That means there's no error in the class. But what I wanted to show you, that when I have made an error, you still see that this particular class is at 9:29 p.m. So 9:29, and my source is also 9:29. So what I'll do is I will make a mistake here and save it. So my source is at 9:32, whereas my binary is still first project class 9:32. How it can be possible? It should not compile. It should give an error. It should not create a dot class file. There is some problem, I think.
So without compiling, how system will give error? I mean,
Without compiling. See, compiling means what? Compiling means converting it to JVM readable format, right?
machine language, yeah.
Not machine language here. It is JVM, virtual machine language. Virtual machine, JVM language.
Okay.
JVM converts it into machine language. So bytecode is not machine language. It's an intermediate code which is being further converted by the JVM, underlying JVM. That is why Java is platform independent. Okay. So when I compile it, it is throwing me an error that, boss, I cannot compile it because I do not know what you wanted to write here. Because as per my syntax, my grammar, you should put a apostrophe here, complete it, and sorry, quote here, and then complete it by a bracket. So if you write in this format, I'll be okay. I'm comfortable. But if you do not, I might not be. Okay. So my confusion is here, that why dot class file is still compiling. Dot class file should not compile. Let me okay. Properties. I will go here from the command line and we'll see how Eclipse is behaving in this. That is CD. You can see my screen now. Yeah, here I do have first Java project.java, right? Now I am trying to compile it using Java C and say first Java project.java. So what it will say? See, it is giving you an error from the command line as well. That error, unclosed string literal. That means you have not closed double quotes. First error is this. Second, at the same line, and it is also saying you at where. First Java project, Java line number 4, line number 4 of your Java code. 1, 2, 3, 4. At line number 4, it gives you an error. Unclosed string literal. This is not closed here. Then at the line number 4, again it says semicolon expected. Semicolon expected. Semicolon is there, but it should be expected after the completion of that code, because you can write semicolon in between any quotation value. It will be treated as a simple string. But here, the semicolon should be treated as statement terminator. We will be talking about that in a couple of minutes now from now. And then we will be having another error. First Java project, Java error, reached end of file while parsing. Now at line number 7, when it reached to the end of file while parsing, it still sees that my uh, code block is not successfully compiled. So this compiler automatically tells you everything about your Java code. I am not able to understand how Eclipse is converting that into updating that binary file, because we have not yet done the correction. Okay, so now I am doing correction. I am saving it, and now I am compiling it from the command line. I have compiled it from the command line, and it says no error. And you see there are two files. One is .java, another is .class. First Java project, let me clean it and then I'll run this dir. First Java project .class and first project .java. Now from the command line you can simply run it with the help of Java first Java project, but you do not need to specify the class name. Java interpreter automatically understands that you want to execute a .class file, because it never executes a .java or it never executes a .class extension. It only executes with the name of your class, and it automatically appends .class. So you simply need to pass only the name of the file rather than the extension of the file. If you pass the name, what it will do? Error, could not find or load main class first Java project.class. If you append .java with it, it will again throw you an error. Could not find or load main class first Java project. But if you remove all these and then execute, it says hello and welcome to first Java project. That is what our expectation is. Hello and welcome to first Java project, right? So this is how our Java program runs. In Eclipse also, when we have saved it, we can simply go here and run. Say, once you run it, it comes to the console and says a message, hello and welcome to first Java project. Until you have successfully compiled the program, it won't run. You try to run it, it will error exists in required project. Proceed with launch. I'll try to proceed with launch, and then it throws expect exception in thread main java.lang.error unresolved compilation problem. Okay, so what it says at first java project.java there is an error, and when you click on this, it simply brings you to the error line, that on this particular line there is an error. Once I put a semicolon here and runs it, it will be happily executing your Java code. Now, we need to understand this a very simple basic Java class. And this is all we are going to talk about today. And after this, we will be moving further on the next sessions. Now, here you can see there are lots of statements, there are lots of words, public, class, first Java project, then a curly bracket, then you have public, static, void, main, then you have a round bracket, within that is a function bracket, and then you have a string, then args, and then square bracket, then starting curly bracket again, putting some system dot out dot print. What all these damn things are. Now we will talk all these one by one. First of all, we will be talking about public. So public is something which is accessible to all. Now, if I am having something at my home, and if I put it outside my door, right? If I put something outside my door, so it will be accessible to all. Anybody can access that. But if I put it inside my home, it won't be able to, right? So public specified that, okay, this particular class is a public class and it can be accessed from anywhere within that application. If there are one class, two class, one package, three package, 100 packages, 100 classes, so this is a public class which can be accessed from any of those classes. Now, there are some other accessing mechanisms which we will be discussing later on. But first, we need to understand public. Now, public also, here also public gives JVM a functionality. Because if we do not create this particular class public, JVM will not be able to handle it. Let's say I'll try to remove this and we'll try to run it. Run as Java application. It is running. So it doesn't need
Public.
now. Just hold on for a second. Okay. So in the updated Java versions, earlier what happens that if we do not specify public in front of the class name, what it was saying that the class which is holding hello,
Sorry, not audible. I was not.
uh, am I audible now?
Yes, yes. Now.
Okay, okay. There was a power failure actually. You know the condition of India, power failure and things. Okay, hello.
Yeah, now it's audible. Yeah, I can
Okay,
see.
Okay, my screen is just like I'm just connecting through my desktop. So once it will be connected, uh, just hold on for a second. Okay. Uh, uh, okay. So you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
So what I was talking about, that from earlier versions of Java, that is from Java 5, probably I have seen that if you do not specify public keyword before the class name, then it asks if there is any main method inside it. It asks that class which is holding a main method should have public accessibility, right? If I create another class in here, class test, then say anything, and I'll try to compile it. Java C first project.java. So what happens? See, there is two classes compiled. First Java project and then test dot class. And if I specify it as public, now it gives you an error. Now it gives you an error. Why? Because it says that the class with the name first project should be public. Why? Because class inside first project and the name here first project, if these two are same, then this particular class and should be specified as public. This should have a public accessibility, and this class can should have a default accessibility. So we will discuss more on this. So whenever we are going to create a main class, we will specify that as public, so that it should not be by mistake limited to a certain accessibility. So it should always be in a public accessibility. Then class. Class is another keyword in Java which says that I am, or you, the developer, is going to create a blueprint, a model, a structure which will be performing some operations with the help of its objects. So this is just a design. This is just a model. On that model, we have something which is called operation. So with the help of class, class keyword, we can create our own classes in Java. Then we have name, first Java project. This is the name of the class. The name of the class should always be in the name of your file, first Java project dot Java. It should be the same name, because if it is different, then your JVM will not be able to interpret. When you try to run Java and say first Java project, and inside you have given another name, let's say this is your first Java project, and inside you have given first Java project. In actuals, rename compilation unit. It says you should rename your compilation unit to the actual file name. Why? Because it knows that JVM might not be able to interpret it. It will reject it. So that is why your class file name should always be in the name of file name. Class name should always be in the name of a file name. If there are some other classes, then there is a possibility that there should be one class which has to be in the name of your file name, and the rest classes which you have inside this particular class, that those all can be of any name. Okay. Then this curly bracket. Curly bracket tells you about the boundary of this particular class. In Java, everything is done within the classes. You cannot do a single line of coding outside of the class. There's no possibility, there's zero possibility that you can write a single line of code outside of the class. So that is
Curly,
why we, sorry?
yeah, I meant curly bracket. We cannot write program after curly bracket. So
Yeah, because in C you do not have that limitation. C is a totally modular based programming language. It was having functions. You can create functions individually. You do not need to specify the classes. In C++, there was classes, there was boundary, but there was possibility that you can write some code, some piece of code like virtual functions, friend functions. Those can be written outside of the classes. Uh, so that was all possible. Even you can write structures separately rather than classes, structures, unions, and C++. So those things have been restricted in Java, and everything is to be written inside curly brackets. After that, we are coming to the method public static void main. Again, we have public keyword here. Public keyword here tells that this method has public accessibility. Static means that this method can be directly called without creating an instance of the class. So you do not need to create an instance of the class for allowing this method to be accessible outside. Then we have a void, that this function on execution will not return anything. Generally, what happens when you create a particular function, you create a function to get some return out of it, because we perform some operations on functions and we want the resultant value of that operation into our program further. But this function, when we specify void, void means no, I do not want anything in return from this particular function. So we specify a void. Public static. Static means it can be accessible without creating an object of the class, because everything, if it is not static, can only be accessed with the help of objects. Then we have main. Main is a function which we can override, but we cannot change the functionality of it. Main means main. Main, that means every home has a main door, right? So here also, this particular project has a main entry point. Main entry point is the point from where your JVM enters into your code and start executing your code line by line or as whatever you have specified. If you do not have a main entry point in your Java code, it will not be executed. Let's say I have created a main one. Let's see whether this will work. There's no problem with the class design. So what I did is I have only just put a main one here and then try to compile it. First Java project. Oh, great. The compilation is successful. Now we will try to run it. What it says? No, boss, I cannot run it. Main method not found in class first Java project. Please define the main method as public static void main. That means you have to have explicitly defined this function so that it can be accessed by Java virtual machine, Java interpreter. Java interpreter can enter into it because there is a structure which it knows the entry point of this particular house, the Java class house. And if you do not provide the entry point, it would not be able to enter into your code and will not be able to execute. Although the code structure is perfect, there is no problem with the code structure. There is no problem in the syntax. Everything is perfect. Now I'll show you something. Now I have another function public static void main, and then I have specified string args and then said main one hello. What is main? New string array with an array parameter hello. Okay.
One main is there, so I think it should run.
Sorry.
One main is there after public static void, so I think this should run. I mean,
Yes.
it shouldn't give any error.
Exactly. But will it give you any output? Will it give you any output as of now? I have compiled this project and now I'm running it. Is it giving you any output? No, nothing. Because I have not written anything inside it. Now, what I am doing is I am going to execute the above main one function from within the main function. Because main one is not directly executable because interpreter doesn't understand main one. But our code does. Our code understands. Within the main function, I have written main one, right? So main one is called from within the main method. When it enters into it, it reads, oh, there is a request of main one. Does it exist? Yes, it exists in the class. Okay, I'll go there. And what it needs a string array parameter. Okay, pass hello. Okay, hello is gone here. Now what I do is I'll remove hello from here. I'll remove hello from here. And what I do is I'll specify args 0, because an argument fine, and say arg0 plus and welcome to first Java project. And then we go there, compile it, and try to run it. So it says hello and welcome to first Java project. Now you say, oh, this was the earlier statement. How can I believe that this is running properly? So say, simply say Rajesh in place of hello. Compile it and run it. Rajesh and welcome to first Java project. Okay, so whatever the argument you are passing, that is being concatenated here and it will be printed here. You can also pass multiple arguments. Rajesh 35 India. Now I have different arguments. Your name, that is args 0. This out. Your age plus args 1. This out. Your country plus args 2. Now I'm not going to command prompt. I'm simply running it from here now. Okay. Run as Java application. So your name Rajesh, your age 35, your country India. Now you see there are
Shouldn't, yeah, shouldn't it come in line by line? Like your name Rajesh,
exactly it
your
should come
age.
line by line, but I have done a thing explicitly so that this question will raise. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So first statement you see, I have written system.out.print. Okay. System.out.print.
Okay, print, not print line. Okay,
Print line, right? Exactly. So print on simply prints that and doesn't terminate at the end. Whereas print line prints always in a new line and then terminate. And then similar happens with the other statement print. Okay. If I put print ln here as well, it will be printed into the
line by line. Yeah.
line by line. Your name Rajesh, your age 35, your country India. Okay.
So system automatically knows which argument is 0, 1, 2 in this sequence. Like
Yes.
it, so it's
While
always
sending an
starting
array,
from 0.
yeah, because you are
Okay.
creating an array, right? You are creating a string array, and in the string array, you have specified first argument as Rajesh, second argument as 35, and the third argument as India. So first,
Yeah.
second, and third argument will be treated as the standard array structure. The standard array structure starts from the 0 to max minus 1. So here the max is 3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. And the array starts from 0th location. So 0, 1, 2. 0th is Rajesh, 1 is 35, and 2 is India. Okay. This is very much similar. Like I am not going to write, sorry, uh, hmm, just I'm converting it to main, removing these parameters from here. Now, if I try to run this in this way, what will happen?
Uh, I mean, system should look for argument
And
0, 1, 2.
it should give you an array index of bonds exception. Array index out of bonds exception, because there is no argument available.
Yeah.
I haven't passed any argument. So what I'll do is I'll show you from here and then from there. Java first Java project.java, and then I'll run this Java. So first of all, I'm running it and it is throwing me array index out of bonds exception. Now, if I pass the first argument, that is Rajesh, it prints Rajesh and then gives you array index out of bonds exception 1. Your name Rajesh, and then it gives you an error. Now I pass Rajesh age 35. It should print first and second argument, and then gives you an error on the third. And I pass the third is India. Now all arguments are executed, right? So as you were passing those arguments from main to main one, now I'm passing those arguments from the command line to our main function here. So this takes these arguments from the command line and will be creating an array out of it, and we are consuming those arrays in our program. That is from the command line. Now the similar thing can be done from here as well. Arguments. In the argument section, you specify RAM 24 USA. Okay, and now I'm running it. As you see, these three
Yes.
arguments are passed: RAM, 24, and USA. So from the Eclipse, you can perform all those things which can be performed from the command line. Okay.
Yeah, this makes sense.
So if in this case I remove public, will it make any impact on this? Run as, oh, what happened? I wanted to run as Java application, right? But it is not able to find it. Where is run as Java application? Run as run configure run first Java application run. Now I'll try to run it. Main method not found in class first Java project. Please define the main method as public. Static void main. Now I say public. Once I define it as public, I can see that I can simply run Java application. Okay?
Okay.
Because without public modifier here, the JVM Java interpreter not able to understand what I am going to execute, because I do not have accessibility to that method. I have accessibility to class, but I cannot go and access that method directly. So for that, I need public accessibility.
Okay.
Okay.
So one question. So why these public static void are marked in red and out is in blue? Uh, so
Okay.
is there any
Yes.
concept?
Yeah. In Eclipse, it is for your convenience that Eclipse has a coding pattern. You can change the color of these. There are preferences settings in the Eclipse. You can change this. Uh, all the keywords which are Java standard keywords are marked into purple. Okay, that is public, class, static, void.
Static.
These are all Java standard keywords which Java itself provides. Like in English, we have words. through which we make sentences. So here also there are words through which we are making Java syntaxes. Okay, so these are in purple color.
Okay.
Whereas when you have objects of a particular class, out is an object. Out is an object of print stream class. You can see print stream java.lang.system.out. Else I can show you that. We'll show you in a couple of minutes from now. Print stream, out is the object of print stream class, which is existing inside the system class. So all the objects are in blue color. I'll show you some first another example of this. First, Java project. This is my class. I create an object f out. F out is equals to new first Java project, and see here f out.
What is F out here? Um,
I'll tell you. Just give me a moment. What? Now, as I have shown you, out. Out is a standard class object. That means whenever we are using a standard class, for example, uh, uh, standard class like print stream is a standard class or a static member of a particular class. So out is the static member of system class. So it is in blue color. F out is an object of first Java project class through which I am accessing another method. Why my method? Because my method is not a static method. All the static methods can be accessed directly without the object, but non-static methods cannot be directly accessed. For allowing non-static methods to be accessible, we need to create an object. So I have created an object of f out so that I can execute my method. If I won't create it, I won't be able to access it. See, if I comment it and will try to say my method, it is going to give you an error. What error? It says cannot make a static reference to the non-static method. I do not know how to access this particular method. So if you want me to understand how to access this method, change this method to static so that I can understand it. Okay. So I have converted it to static and then it is accessible. But if you want that, no, this method should not be accessed with static accessibility, then you need to create that an object of it, and you can access with the help of object. We'll understand it in more detail, but I'm just showing you how the accessibility goes into it. Okay.
yeah, okay.
So public, static, void are the keywords. Class is the keyword. String is the class which Java provides us. Args is a variable. Args is a variable which we have created. So whenever we are creating a variable or reference of a particular class, it is in uh, this particular color. As I have shown you first Java project, and then I created a reference. The reference has some other color. A variable I create int I is equals to 10. So it doesn't have a specific color. I believe it also has, like if I say um, in the value, this is also a variable. So all variables are of this particular color. All static members can be of this particular color. All strings which are in quotes should be in this particular color. So this color code helps us to understand that if did I mistaken something. See, if I anyhow mistaken this, so my this statement color is changed. So till here, my color is changed. So I need to ensure. Okay, fine. This is what my mistake is. Okay. Mukesh, are you getting?
Yeah, a little bit. Uh,
Uh, Let me know what is your like what you cannot understand, what you are not able to understand, so that I can try to explain it more.
yeah, so we put it here your name plus argument
Mm-hmm.
0,
Mm-hmm.
and and there we putting a double brackets. Sorry, this double quotes.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we don't put that double quotes? So it will give some error or it will execute.
See, your name is what? Your name is a static, a constant, basically. Your name is a constant. It is
Yeah.
not. It is never ever gonna change, right? Until you manually change it.
So why
So
we have put it in double quotes?
that's
Your
what I'm. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm
okay.
telling you. Your name is a constant which is not gonna change. Whereas args is a variable in which the value can change. If we pass Rajesh, it prints Rajesh. If we pass Ramesh, it prints Ramesh. If we pass Ajay, it prints Ajay. If we pass Mukesh, it prints Mukesh. But your name will always be your name. So if you remove this double code, Java start understanding it as a variable. Your name as variables.
Okay.
Okay, that these are variables. So it tries to convert it into some form, its value. So for that, to protect that from error, we put that into code so that Java simply understands, oh, it's not a variable. It is simple a string, which I have to print as it is onto the screen. So I have to print your name as it is on the screen, and whatever dynamic value is coming from the arguments, I will concatenate that with your name and print it on the screen.
And for concatenation, we have put it as plus sign.
Plus sign. In Java, we have a concatenation operator that is called plus for strings, because this operator is overloaded in Java itself.
Okay.
Overloaded means when we add two numbers, it gives you a added number value. But when we add two string, it concatenates it. If we add a number and a string, it concatenates it. Getting the point?
Yes, yes, yes. Now it's clear.
So similarly for your age, for your country. And arguments are dynamic. Zeroth argument is dynamic, one argument is dynamic, two argument is
Dynamic.
dynamic.
Yes.
Yeah. And main you understood, then main is the
Yeah,
main entry
yeah.
point.
One more thing. So we have put it as a system dot out dot print line. So is this,
Mhm.
I mean, a standard format we need to put system dot out dot print line?
Yes, exactly. This is why I'll tell you. That's what I wanted to tell a couple of minutes back. Now, system. What system is basically? What do you mean by a system?
System means the platform we are using for executing this code.
Exactly. Platform. Platform means we are using Windows operating system here. In case of
Yeah.
our programming language, we are using Windows operating system. So I want something to be sent onto the system, and what system is basically for us here is console, right? We are trying to send something to the console of operating system. ठीक है, console of operating system, that means हमारा Windows operating system है, we have Windows operating system here, and on the Windows operating system we want to send whatever the argument is being generated, that will be sent into console, and the console will be responsible to print that, show that for us. So system dot out means output console.
Output. Yeah.
System dot out means output console. We have a bigger system, we have a Windows operating system. Windows operating system has multiple streams: out stream, in stream, error stream, and different other streams, right? But we are specific to a stream, a channel, which is required for us. So we are using a out channel, that is output stream. The system dot out stream dot print. So print in the out stream the message we have passed inside you. That means println, within the println method, whatever the message, concatenation message which is being generated is being passed, and that passed message is being thrown towards output stream and printed. The output stream will be responsible to print that. Then, so this is called system is whole system, out is the output stream, that is print writer, output is the print stream class. The standard output stream, you see, this is the standard output stream. This stream is already open and ready to accept output data. Typically
Print.
this is sorry.
So print line is also a keyword. Uh,
No,
so
print line is a method. Print line is a method of print stream class.
okay, not
Println, huh?
okay. So it's not a keyword. That's why I'm wondering why this is not marked in purple or some other color.
Yes, exactly. This is
Okay,
not a
okay,
keyword. This is a method. See, main method is not in any color. It's default black, right?
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So similarly, println method is not in any color. It's black. So this is a method. You see, the structure of println is method. Println is a method of print stream class, prints a string and then terminate the line. See, it says that it prints a string and then terminate the line. This method behaves as though it invokes print string and then print line. So x is the argument. This is the argument of println. This is completely concatenated and create a one argument, and then it will be sent to the output stream, and then println will be responsible to print that answer. Getting my
And
point?
yeah, and console is output window uh, in um, or interpret. I think you were saying output window where we seeing the output
Yeah,
output of
console.
this program.
Yeah, in case of Eclipse, we have this console as the output stream, output window, where we will be sending our output. And in case of command prompt, this black screen is our output stream. Okay.
Okay.
So system is a very important class. System has lots of other features which we will be discussing as we progress onto Java development. Out is a stream object which is inside the system class. We'll try to see the system class. Okay, now see the system class. This is a system class that Java provides. Okay, this is a final class. We cannot inherit it. We'll talk about inheritance. Then we'll be having an input stream in. You see in. Then we will be having a out. This is print stream out. Okay, got it?
Yeah, yeah.
Public, final, static. Print stream out. Now, why static here? Because I am simply calling out object of out variable of system class. System class has defined an out variable of print stream type. I want to access it directly outside system class without creating an object of system class, because as system class is final, I cannot create an object of system class. Whatever the class is specified as final, sorry, no, final cannot be inherited. No, it is not like final. We cannot create an object of final class. Yeah, final class can be its object can be created. Yeah, but there are some other functionality, like if I want to directly access a particular class objects or methods, so that we do not need to create an object of that particular class, because sometimes there are classes which are very limited for certain functionalities, or limited for functionalities, and for that their object creation requirement is not there. So why should we invoke those objects and consume the memory in the heap? So Java has provided us a facility that you do not need to explicitly create objects of those classes, which are simply providing you some operations rather than some functionalities. Basically, these are some providing you some operations or some intermediate things. So similarly, system is there. We have variables defined in that. We have static accessibility defined in that. We have public accessibility defined for that. Those things, and we can simply call that with the name of the class rather than creating a system object. For example, I can say new system dot c. I can access that with the help of new system in, error, out, and whatever the method of system classes which are having static or non-static accessibility, right? But what I want is, I want that there are few things which should be directly accessible by the class, and there are few things which need to be accessed with the object of the class. So if I have a requirement there where we should only uh, need to access those things which can be directly accessible with the help of class, why should I create object for that? Because if I create object for those, so I will be in a position to access those things also which can only be accessed with the help of object. Mukesh, you getting my point?
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting.
uh, what I wanted to say again, that there are there is a box. In the box there are few things which can be directly accessible from outside. You can access that from the outside, but if you don't create, there are few other things for which you need some channel to access that. But what you do is, for for a particular operation, you have a requirement where you only need those things which can be directly accessible, right? But what you did is you created a channel through which you can access static as well as non-static things. So in that case, your non-static things are open for that, whereas you don't want those to be accessible to that particular operation. Fine. So in that way, it has been defined in such structured manner that, okay, if you want that this particular operation needs only those members which are static, which are publicly accessible, you define that as static. Those are required to be accessible by the object, then define those as object accessible without static accessibility. So see, these are the basic blocks of Java which you should be quite clear on, because otherwise it is lots of confusion that what I should access, how I should access. So as we are going to further um, improvise step by step, you will be able to understand, okay, that okay, I got it, that in this particular class I need these as publicly accessible, and these as only accessible with the help of objects. Otherwise in this particular project, in this particular class only, you won't be able to understand everything in the broader way. I am telling you a broader uh, theoretical concept, but when we will come into practical implementation of this, you will able to understand it. Okay, this is what we have discussed earlier. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Hmm. So I believe these all things are quite clear with you. Public, class name, body of class, and then public, static, void, main function, then body of main. So main is a function within the class which can be accessible outside of the class by JVM, so that JVM can enter into it and start executing your statements one by one. If you do not have a main method in your class, your program will not start, your program will not run. So at least if you have 100 classes in your program, there should be at least one class which should have a main method in Java. Because from
So here we have two curly brackets. Uh,
Mhm.
we have two
One.
curly brackets. One,
Mhm.
um, so I mean, in program we have sub program in this case, right? So one curly bracket is started, uh, 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 and then we started another curly bracket for writing sub program.
Right. Subprogram. It's not subprogram. It's yeah. Basically, you can say subprogram. It's a function which is hello.
Okay.
So it's a subprogram. You can say it's a procedure. It's a function. You can say it's a behavior. It's a method. Whatever you want, you can say it like okay.
And system.out.println is a method, right? Ki, what method we are passing in this main program.
System.out.println is not a method. Only the println is a method. Okay. Only println is
Println
method.
is a method. Okay. Okay.
System is a class. Out is an object. Println is a method. System class contains out. System class contains what? System class contains out. Out is of type print stream. Print stream has a method of print writer called println. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. I'm getting
I'm
this
trying to
little bit.
synchronize, right? Trying to
Yeah,
synchronize. Yeah,
yeah.
it
So
is.
can it be system dot underscore dot out dot println?
Y underscore. We did.
Yeah, because I'm not sure why we have put it as a dot system dot out. Is this a standard format we are using in this Java?
Dot is an operator in Java. Basically, what it does is dot is responsible to get the properties or methods of a particular class. It brings the properties and methods of a particular class, or with the help of either object or by static accessibility. So system class has out variable, which is of type print stream. So how can I get that out variable and the value of out variable? So for that, I
We
need
have
to
a
use an
dot
operator called dot.
as a dot. Okay.
Dot operator tells that okay, list everything which is having in the system class, which is having an static accessibility. So you can simply see system dot. If I put dot, it lists all of the static accessibility of system class. These are all static things. Okay, all static methods, all static objects. These are all static methods.
Okay.
If I specify underscore, it does it, nothing. It's an error.
Yeah,
If I
system
put
will not understand. Yeah, right. I
right, so dot
yeah.
is a standard operator which brings everything related to the class. If it is simply used by the class name, then it brings all the static members of the class. If it is being used with the object of the class, it brings everything, even if it's static, even if it is non-static. Okay,
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
let's see in args is an object of string class.
So I think the screen is not appearing. So not sure if you're still sharing.
Okay. Okay, there's a problem with the internet actually. What happens in here is internet goes in like
Okay. I was assuming you just talking about, theoretically, because I was not seeing a screen. Yeah.
Okay, give me a moment. I'm trying to connect it. Okay. Mm.
Can you talk about wide, like you already talked, like wide is something that it shouldn't return anything like function. So we are we using wide for that. So what if we don't use wide, wide keyword in the sentence? What will happen?
Okay. Void. If we do not use void in the keyword here, it will say, it will give you an error of no return type. Right. No return type means whenever you are you know specifying a function, whenever you are creating a function, you have to have explicitly specify that which what should be the function structure. Function structure contains few things. One, accessibility. Accessibility modifier. Accessibility modifier is public, private, protected, or default. These are the accessibility modifier. Okay. Then there is a static accessibility, that okay, this is static or not. There is a final accessibility, that function is final or not. Then we have like function final or static are optional, whereas after public after accessibility modifier, you should specify, you must have to specify whether this function is going to return you anything or not. If it is returning anything, you have to specify the return type of that. That is, if it is returning an integer, you have to specify int. If it is returning an object, you have to specify the object type. If it is returning a string, you have to specify the string type. If it is returning a float value, that means a decimal value, decimal type, you have to specify the float key type. But
Okay.
if that particular function is not gonna return anything, then also you have to specify, you have to tell that to the compiler, that Mr. Compiler, that this particular function of mine is not gonna return anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is now clear to me.
this is clear.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you explained well.
And whenever you specify a return type of any data type, like say if you specify int, you have to explicitly specify a return statement at the end of the function, that return with an integer, return 10. So return 10 will be returned, and the return type is int above. So that int will be returned to the calling area. Whereas in
So
case of void, we do not need to specify any return statement at the end of the function.
okay. So I'm hoping you will show these examples in